Welcome back to Authentically ADHD. I am your host, Carmen. I'm a late diagnosed ADHDer, an early childhood special educator, and a certified life and performance coach. I created this podcast to help as many ADHDers as I could to learn about your specific ADHD. I know that when I was late diagnosed, I was sent out the door with meds and no help. We have to do a lot of this work on our own, but if we join together in community, we can live more authentically and with more joy in our lives. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi there, and welcome back to Authentically ADHD, where we dive into everything ADHD. And today we are going into a topic that is kind of deep, so take care of yourself during this episode. We're diving into self-trust, what it really means, why it's so difficult for adults with ADHD, and how we can rebuild it. So I remember when I used to tell myself that I couldn't trust myself because I didn't do what I said I was going to do all the time. And when I learned what self-trust was, it was literally the work that I didn't know that I needed. Self-trust isn't about following through with everything that you say you're going to do. And we're going to get into that. But having a lack of self-trust really held me back. It held me back in so many different ways on this podcast. It held me back in other ways, like having guests on, in my teaching practices, in the way that I reacted to things. It really held me back, having a lack of self-trust. So building self-trust was something that I really needed to do. And if you are relating to this episode is for you. Because we're going to talk about what people think self-trust is, what it really is, why we struggle so much to obtain self-trust, and some strategies to help you along the way as you start your journey of building self-trust. So let's start with what people think self-trust is. Self-trust is a really tricky concept, especially for us adults with ADHD. There's a lot of misinformation and unrealistic expectations about what self-trust should look like. So let's start by breaking down a couple common misconceptions. The myth: self-trust means always being confident. A lot of people think that self-trust means you are feeling 100% sure of yourself all the time, but that's not true. Even the most successful, put-together people doubt themselves sometimes. That's a fact. Trusting yourself does not mean that you never question your decisions. It means you have your own back, even when you're uncertain. Confidence is often the result of self-trust, but it's not a requirement to have it. You don't have to feel confident to take action. Most of the time, it actually feels awful to take the action, but you build the confidence by taking the action and repeatedly picking yourself up, even whether it works out or not, afterwards. So think about learning how to drive. At first, you probably weren't very confident, but over time, through practice and proof and evidence, you learned to trust yourself behind the wheel. If you're not a driver, think of a different thing that you're good at. Like for me, when I was learning how to do my makeup, I wasn't confident. But over time, with practice, I was able to do it. You can also reframe these thoughts. Instead of, I don't trust myself because I doubt my decisions, try, I can trust myself even when I feel unsure. I don't have to know everything to take action. The next myth is that self-trust means that you're always making the quote-unquote right decision. A lot of us hesitate to trust ourselves because we're afraid of making the wrong choice. The truth is that no one ever makes the quote-unquote right decision. If self-trust means never messing up, then no one on earth would ever trust themselves, because that's perfectionism when you really think about it. Real self-trust is about believing that you can handle the outcome of your choices, even if things don't go perfectly. Let's say you take a job and later realize that it's not really the right fit. That does not mean that you failed at trusting yourself. It means that you made the best decision with the information that you had at the time. And self-trust is knowing that even if things don't work out, you can pivot, learn, and still move forward. So instead of thinking, I can't trust myself because I might choose it wrong, try self-trust isn't about getting it right. It's about believing in my ability to figure it out. The next myth is that self-trust means being perfect at follow-through. This one's a biggie, especially for us, because society tells us that self-trust is about being reliable, disciplined, and following through no matter what. But our ADHD brains don't work in a straight line, and perfectionism is very toxic for us, and we struggle with executive function, motivation, time management, and prioritization. This doesn't mean that we're unreliable. It means that we need different systems and supports to follow through. Self-trust is not about never forgetting or always being productive. It's about knowing that even when we struggle, we can adjust and keep going. Maybe you've told yourself, I can't trust myself because I always procrastinate. The real issue isn't that you're incapable of follow-through. It's that ADHD makes starting difficult, and you might need external cues to help you. Instead of thinking, I can't trust myself because I struggle with follow-through, try, I trust myself to find the tools and systems that help me follow through in a way that works for my brain. The next myth is that traditional productivity equals self-trust. Many of us have absorbed society's definition of productivity. The idea that waking up early, having a perfectly planned day, working out, and checking off every item equals success. But this is not realistic for most humans and or most ADHD brains. When we try to fit ourselves into those little traditional boxes and productivity molds, and then we fail, we assume we can't trust ourselves. But the problem isn't that we're broken. It's that these productivity methods weren't designed for you. Time blocking is rigid, and it's a rigid type of scheduling that might work for you, but it might not. Body doubling, external reminders, and working in bursts of hyperfocus might be a different thing that actually does work for you. Whatever does work for you is just as valid. Instead of thinking, I can't trust myself because I don't follow traditional productivity methods, try, I can trust myself to find alternative ways to get things done that fit with my brain. Self-trust is not perfection. Self-trust isn't about knowing what to do and always following through and never making mistakes. It's about knowing yourself and knowing that you can handle whatever happens. Self-trust is a relationship with yourself, just like any other relationship. It takes time, patience, and small, consistent actions to build. I am no expert. Believe me, I'm still building my self-trust. So let's talk about what it really is. It's not about being perfect. It's not always knowing about knowing the right answer or never making mistakes. So what is it? Self-trust is not a fixed trait. It's a skill that you build over time. It's actually something that's supposed to develop during childhood. It's not about never messing up. It's about believing in your ability to recover, learn, and adapt. It's about the relationship with yourself. And, think about the relationships you have with other people. Trust doesn't come from someone being perfect all the time. It comes from consistency, honesty, and how they show up when things don't go as planned. Self-trust works in the same way. It's not about getting it right. It's about how you treat yourself when things don't go as planned. Just like you wouldn't abandon a friendship over one little mistake, you shouldn't abandon yourself when you have a struggle. How you respond to the setbacks matters more than the setback itself. If a friend forgot to meet you for lunch but sincerely apologized and made an effort to reschedule, you wouldn't immediately, decide that they're untrustworthy. You'd see that they're trying and give grace to them. You need to apply that same grace to yourself. Instead of thinking, I can't trust myself because I mess up, try, I am building a relationship with myself and I can trust myself to show up, learn, and try again. Self-trust is about action over time. It's not a feeling. A lot of people think self-trust is a feeling, that you either have it or you don't. But in reality, self-trust is something that's built through consistent small actions over time. If you didn't get the self-trust built in childhood through validation of your feelings and things like that, or your self-trust was eroded in a job or in a relationship, you don't have to feel like you trust yourself in order to act in a way that builds trust. The more you show up for yourself, even in small ways, the more you can rebuild that self-trust and it can grow. Just like the confidence follows the action, self-trust follows the proof that our brain can collect. Imagine trying to get stronger. You wouldn't just wake up one day and suddenly feel strong. You build strength by working out consistently, even when you don't feel like it. In persistence, right? Self-trust works in the same way. It's like a muscle and it gets stronger as we use it. Instead of thinking, I trust myself once I feel confident, try self-trust comes from action, not just a feeling, and I can take small steps to rebuild it. Self-trust is about learning from mistakes, not avoiding them. Many adults with ADHD have internalized the belief that making mistakes means that we're unreliable or untrustworthy. But that's not true. Self-trust isn't about never messing up. It's about what you do after you mess up. Instead of punishing yourself and beating yourself up for mistakes, look at them as data. Ask, what just happened? What can I learn from this? How can I adjust next time? The ability to recover, learn, and adapt is what makes someone truly trustworthy. Think about babies that learn to walk. They fall down a lot, but no one expects them to give up. They keep trying, getting up, adjusting, and getting better. You also deserve the same grace. You are rebuilding the wires in your brain. So instead of thinking, I can't trust myself because I mess up too much, try self-trust isn't about avoiding mistakes. It's about learning from them and moving forward anyways. Self-trust can be rebuilt, just like in any other relationship. If you've broken trust with yourself in the past by not following through, making impulsive decisions, or struggling with consistency, it doesn't mean you're doomed. Just like relationships with others, trust can be rebuilt. If you break trust with a friend, you don't fix it overnight. You repair it through consistent small actions. The same applies to yourself. Instead of focusing on the past, focus on what you can do now to rebuild the trust with yourself. Start small and just do one kept promise at a time. You've struggled to follow through on big commitments, right? So start by keeping tiny promises, like little wins each day, like drinking a glass of water when you say you will, writing down one small win each day. Instead of thinking I've broken trust with myself too many times, try trust can be rebuilt, and I can start today with small, consistent, persistent actions. Self-trust is a process. It is not a destination. Self-trust is not something you either have or don't have. It's something you build day by day through the way you treat yourself and the way that you talk to yourself. It's literally about progress, not perfection, and it's our life's work. The goal isn't to never struggle. It's to believe that when you do, you'll figure out how to keep going. Hey there. If you're looking for a game changer in managing your ADHD, let me tell you about something that's made a huge impact on my life. Focused, the adult ADHD group coaching program by Kristen Carter. This isn't just another program. It's a community. It's a roadmap. It's a lifeline for adults with ADHD who want to thrive. Inside of Focus, you'll find weekly coaching calls with Kristen packed with actionable insights, a supportive community of adults who get it. They get what it's like to live with ADHD. You'll get tools and strategies that actually work for our brains. No fluff, just real results. I've been a part of Focused for over a year, and let me tell you, it's where I've learned so much of what I share with you on Authentically ADHD. It's been a game changer for me, and I think it could be for you too. And here's the best part. If you use my link to join, we both save money. It's a win-win. So if you've been looking for the right ADHD support, this is your sign to check it out. Head to the link in my show notes to learn more and sign up. Let's thrive together with tools and support that we need to succeed. Are you also loving what we're doing on Authentically ADHD but want to take your experience to the next level? Well, I have got something for you. Introducing the Authentically ADHD Patreon, your VIP pass to the ultimate ADHD support hub. As a Patreon member, you'll unlock exclusive perks like early access to every single episode, hear it before anyone else does, a treasure trove of resources that I've made, tools, guides, and worksheets to help you thrive in everyday aspects of life, direct coaching opportunities with me designed to help you harness your ADHD powers, and the cherry on top, an incredible community of like-minded individuals who just get it. You're not alone on this journey, and together we can be unstoppable. By joining Patreon, you're not just supporting the podcast, you're fueling a movement. Together, we're breaking stigmas, embracing authenticity, and creating a world where ADHD is seen as a strength and not just a struggle. So what are you waiting for? Head over to patreon.com/authenticallyADHD and join the family today. Let's keep growing, thriving, and showing up authentically together. Hope to see you over there. Back to the show. All right, so now that we've talked about what people think self-trust is and what it really is, and that it can be rebuilt, we're going to talk a little bit about why ADHD adults struggle with self-trust, and then talk about some implemented strategies, things that you can do to strengthen that self-trust. So why do we as ADHDers struggle with self-trust so much? First of all, it is something that is supposed to be developed during childhood, and some of us don't grow up in families that are safe enough or that foster self-trust, meaning growing up, your feelings may not have been validated. Your experiences may not have been validated. You may have been told that, your reality was different from the reality that was being perceived. Other reasons that we can struggle with self-trust is inconsistent follow-through. We often have big goals, but executive dysfunction makes it very hard to execute the small steps to meet the big goal. We have impulsivity and regret. We make quick decisions that sometimes don't align with our values. We have negative past experiences. We have years of being told we're unreliable or messy, and it all creates self-doubt and rejection because we are rejected at a higher rate than our neurotypical peers. Then we have procrastination and avoidance. When we avoid tasks, we reinforce the belief that we cannot handle things. Then there's forgetfulness and overcommitting. Breaking promises, even unintentionally, damages our self-perception. So here are 10 strategies to help you to strengthen your self-trust. Like I said, self-trust is built over time through small, consistent actions. When you have ADHD, it's easy to doubt yourself because of your past struggles, but that doesn't mean you're incapable of trusting yourself again. So we're going to break it down with 10 powerful strategies to help you strengthen self-trust in a way that works with your brain. Start small and keep promises to yourself. One of the biggest ways to rebuild self-trust is to start proving to yourself that you can follow through, but make it realistic. Start with tiny, achievable commitments. Instead of, I'll exercise every day, say, I will stretch every other day for a couple minutes. Keep your promises small and winnable. It's better to underpromise and overdeliver than set yourself up for failure. I'm telling you, you want to collect data for your brain that proves that you can follow through. Because each time you follow through on a commitment, no matter how small it is, you send a message to your brain that you're reliable. So set simple, so easy you can't fail goals each morning, like drinking 1 glass of water or replying to 1 text, and it will definitely set you up for success. 2, use external supports. Self-trust doesn't mean doing everything on your own. It means knowing which tools help you stay accountable. So use the ones that help you, whether it be reminders, apps, alarms, planners, sticky notes, to help you with follow through and help you with self-trust and trusting yourself to know that even if the decision that you're making ends up being not the right decision or, a decision you regret later, you know that you put your all into it. Externalizing tasks helps offload mental strain, making it easier to trust yourself, and automate anything that you can. Bills, reoccurring reminders, and checklists so that you're not relying on just your memory. Tools like Google Calendar, Notion, Sensama, or Simple Whiteboard can help you visually see what you're keeping up with so that you know how much it is and you can kind of relate it to time. Number 3, and this is a big one, and I know you're going to roll your eyes, but practice self-compassion. You wouldn't call a friend lazy or useless for struggling, so why do you do that to yourself? Self-trust grows when you can stop punishing yourself for being human. Remind yourself that messing up doesn't mean you're a failure. Notice that negative self-talk and replace it with more neutral or compassionate responses. Instead of, I am such a moron, say, this is hard, but I can figure it out. Ask me how I know that works. I used to call myself a moron on a daily basis. I don't do that anymore. And when I do, I catch myself and I say, we don't talk to ourselves anymore like that. Actually, my coach's voice comes into my head and it says, we don't talk to ourselves like that. We talk to ourselves like this. This is hard and that is valid and we can figure it out and it is going to be hard and it does suck, but it will be worth it. The way you talk to yourself impacts your ability to trust yourself day in and day out. So make your inner dialogue or that inner critic a little kinder. Or just make them be quiet for a little bit. When you make a mistake, ask yourself, what would I say to a friend in this situation? Try that. That worked for me. Or try putting a picture of yourself as a child and say, what would you say to this little child right now? Number 4, separate intent from outcome. Some people would call this a ROI, a return on investment. Many adults with ADHD internalize failure and assume that if we struggle, we must be lazy or undisciplined, meaning we internalize failure, meaning that we are worthless, and that's not true. Your struggles don't define your intentions. Just because something doesn't go as planned doesn't mean you didn't care or that you didn't try. Recognizing the effort and execution are separate. And it helps you rebuild self-trust. Instead of, oh my God, I can't believe I failed again, try, well, that approach didn't work. How can I change it? What can I do differently? What can I do that might work? When things don't go as planned, focus on what is in your control rather than what wasn't. Oftentimes, we end up spinning in the things that aren't in our control instead of changing the things that are. Number 5, track small wins. ADHD brains naturally remember the negative more than the positive. So when you intentionally track your small wins, it's a key to building self-trust. Keep some kind of success journal where you write down one thing that you followed through on each day. I have one of these and it's called a reflection win journal. At the end of each day, I write 1 to 3 things, and now it's almost 4 things a day that are wins for each day. It helps rewire your brain to focus on what you can do instead of what you didn't do. You don't have to accomplish big things, but small progress adds up over time. Ask me how I know. At the end of each day, write down what's one thing that I did today that I'm proud of. Number 6, reframe your past failures. Many of us carry shame from past struggles and use them as proof or data that we can't trust ourselves. But failure is not a character flaw. It's literally part of learning and growing. If you don't fail, you're not moving forward. So instead of thinking, I always fail, reframe it to, what can I learn from this? What can I take away from this? How can I make this better? Ask yourself, what's the real reason behind the struggle? Because often it's an ADHD challenge, not a personal failing. And again, we like to relate our challenges that are due to our ADHD to our personal failings, and those are not related. So recognizing patterns in past struggles can help you develop new strategies instead of beating yourself up for past failures. So write down a past failure and then list 3 things that you learned from it, things that you might do differently now because of that failure. 7, limit over-promising. Oh, adults with ADHD often say yes to way too many things because we're super optimistic in the moment and we're time blind and we're people pleasers. But guess what? That leads to burnout and then self-doubt when we can't follow through and keep promises to people we care about. Practice saying things like, let me check my schedule first, instead of immediately agreeing to do something. Set realistic Okay, I'm going to try that again because talking is apparently getting hard. Set realistic expectations for yourself. Taking on less means that you can actually follow through. Saying no or not right now protects you and your self-trust because you're honoring your own limits and boundaries. Before committing, ask yourself, do I realistically have the time and energy to do this? 8, check in with yourself. Sometimes we make decisions out of fear, urgency, or people-pleasing instead of actually what's right for us. Self-trust means tuning into your own voice, getting to know yourself. Ask yourself, am I making this decision from fear or trust, or is it from my own value? Learn to pause and assess what you want instead of what you think you should do. Trust your gut. Your instincts are often way more reliable than you think. Take 1 minute before making a big decision to check in with how it feels in your body. Number 9, create flexible routines. Keyword, flexible. Rigid structures can feel suffocating for ADHD brains. Seriously, there's research. Go look it up. I'm not citing it here, but literally boredom feels like pain, and they have found that in studies for the ADHD brain. Suffocating. It feels suffocating. But consistency helps build trust in ourselves. So what's the key? Flexibility. Create adaptive routines that work with your energy levels, different morning rituals, time blocking, or checklists that you can use on different days. Instead of aiming for a perfect routine, aim for a workable structure that allows for ADHD-friendly adjustments. Make it so that you can move tasks around. The goal is to be predictable, not perfect. Use if-then planning, such as, if I forget to journal in the morning, then I'll do it at night instead. And number 10, last but certainly not least, celebrate progress, not perfection. We are not about perfection here. It's kind of like a swear word. Self-trust is not about never messing up. It's about recognizing that you are still making progress, even when things go perfectly. And when things don't go perfectly, we just celebrate what we did do instead of what we didn't. We give ourselves credit for the effort, not just the outcome. Progress is never linear, and especially for people with ADHD, what matters is that you keep showing up. At the end of each week, try listing 3 things that you accomplished, no matter how small. And again, remember, take these tips as they come that work for you. Don't take all of them and overwhelm yourself. Start with a few, and then move from there. Self-trust isn't built in a day. Neither is anything that's worth it, really. But with small, intentional actions and persistence, you can start believing in yourself again. You are not your past mistakes. You are capable, you're resilient, and I believe you're worthy of trusting yourself, okay? Which strategies are you going to try first? I'd love for you to let me know. You can let me know in comments on my social media. You can follow me in the link tree in the description, or you can even leave a comment on the podcast if it's on YouTube or Spotify. Make sure you are rating the podcast and sharing it with your friends. And if you're sharing it on your socials, make sure you tag me at Authentically ADHD _podcast so I can send you a huge virtual hug. That's all I have for this week, my friends. Stay authentic, and we will talk soon.